Hey, welcome. I am Sheila Williams, and it says that we are live. This is Danay Novoa, and I am going to time myself to see how long before she checks to see if it's working. Because when we do go lives on her YouTube page, she always checks. She heard a notification. I think it's working.
It's working.
It's working. So today we're trying something new. We have been going live on Danay's YouTube channel. We are testing out something brand new by seeing if this is going onto my page or my profile on Facebook. I don't know
But
what
we're not attached to it.
We're not attached to it because that is our topic, although it does appear to also be working on Facebook. So if you end up saying hi, we'd love it. If you're watching this live or on the replay, you can drop a comment, say hi, let us know where you're coming from. If you have any comments or questions about what we're talking about. We have a couple of challenges today. Number one is to stream on 2 different platforms. Number 2 is to see if we can keep this under 47 minutes. Some of us like to have really long lives, and some of us prefer to have shorter ones. And so we usually are around an hour, and the last time we said let's keep it shorter, I think it was about 37 minutes.
Well, we went for 30.
This time
it was 30.
We are aiming for 20-ish,
Yeah.
maybe less, maybe less. So if you are watching us, again, feel free to say hi. We're not going to pick on you unless you allow us do that by letting us know who you are and where you're coming from. And to maybe to make it even more interesting, we can tell you we do have a topic for today. We're not just on here testing to see if we can make technology work. No. We are, in fact, speaking about being attached to outcomes. So if you don't know us, Danay and I are both coaches, life coaches, intuitive coaches, guides, whatever one wants to use as that term these days. And one of the most common topics that crosses my sessions, of course, is when people are really wanting something and they don't feel they can have it. And it often turns out that they have a very strong attachment to something working out in a very particular way. And so we were talking about it the other day because Danay is actually visiting me. I'm in Alberta, Canada right now. Danay is normally in Ontario, Canada. And here we have rendezvous, and she traveled last week. And we took a trip to the mountains because she had never really spent good quality time in the Rocky Mountains. And so we were realizing that we each had a lot of attachment to certain experiences that didn't necessarily happen. So, and we were just interested in noticing what that was about and how that was impacting our moods, our experience in general, and realizing firsthand, as we always do during life, that when we can choose to release attachments to very specific outcomes, it usually ends up working out just fine, if not better than what we had expected. Or at least it's not a disaster, but we often treat it like it's a disaster. And I think that that's the number one rule, is when we get really disappointed and we feel a disaster is happening, having that perspective to take the step back and realize nothing's going wrong. It's simply our perspective and our way that we're choosing to look at it. And it's often related to that, as I said, attachment to something working out in a very specific way. So tonight you wanted to talk about your travel experience?
Yeah. So attachment very close to the idea of expectations, because I was supposed to travel on a particular night, and my flight unexpectedly got canceled after sitting in the airport 2 hours beyond the actual time. And I immediately was disappointed because I was excited to come and visit with Sheila and to see the mountains. I have been on a trip here to Alberta to see the mountains, and it didn't work out because it was too cold. So too cold, too foggy, too all sorts of things. And it was a beautiful visit nonetheless. This was another friend, and I ended up thinking, this time I'm excited to see the mountains. And when that flight was canceled, I was immediately disappointed because I had that attachment. I had that expectation of the flight working out. Luckily, Sheila found another flight and then booked me on one for the next morning. And so I went back home and went to sleep for a couple hours and got up again.
Not much.
Got up again to get on that next flight. But I was all packed. Like I was all ready to go. So in some ways, as crummy as it was, you know, I had that attachment, that expectation to be on that flight at that particular time. It actually felt almost more at ease the second time around because it's like I had gone through the process already, and I could see that with this experience that I was able to be more relaxed the second time. So
it's a great point. And so Anne's just saying if the audio is buzzy. So Carrie, if you want to let us know if it's also okay, the audio is buzzy. Isn't that fun to notice? So thank you for letting us know because it is important to us to learn how to make this better.
how to make it non-buzzy?
It's we have echo cancellation, we have reduced mic background noise, automatically adjust. It's interesting to know how can we make this better. This is actually the only way we have. So for today, I apologize. It's going to be a bit buzzy. It may be my fan, and yet everything feels okay and quiet. So we'll listen back and we'll feel into what is the next step to making sure it's not buzzy. We've never used my laptop before, have we?
No, we haven't.
There we go.
Mine.
It's my laptop that is the problem here. So thanks for the feedback, everyone, because we do appreciate that.
Is it when both of us speak that it's buzzy? We are not attached to this, FYI.
It's true.
So yeah, just a note in the comments: is it one of us that it creates more buzziness than the other one?
We'll figure it out. As the comments come through, maybe I'll practice not yelling. That could help. Sometimes I think I yell too much when we're on things. And
we're just passionate.
Well, a little bit. So with regards to Danay's fight, I do think it's interesting because it's, hey, Tanisha, it was interesting because there was such disappointment. There was excitement through the whole day. Especially with travel, you plan and you think you know how it's going to go, and it didn't work out. On my hand, oh yes, I think she's right. Yeah, thank you so much, Tanisha. I think that's just something my computer does sometimes. I normally wear a headset, and now I know why.
Instead of we turn your volume all the way down.
I don't think it has anything to do with volume. It's just to do with microphone. And there's only one microphone that I can use at this time. I made sure it is not going through my camera because that is something that has been an issue in the past. If somehow my camera grabs it, it's terrible. But I'm afraid I don't think there's much we can do at the moment.
Oh, we can start.
Yep, it's all good. We're not gonna worry about it. We know that we're not doing this as a professional gig. We're simply allowing the stories to come through. So I will add as a conclusion to the airplane story that because she didn't take that first flight, I didn't have to stay at the airport until 1 a.m. to pick her up. So I had to say, actually, yay for me. I got to go and have a proper sleep and pick her up at noon the next day. So that felt really good for me. Fast forward, though, to the mountains, and if anyone is familiar with the Rocky Mountains, crisp blue skies, gorgeous granite, snow-topped, beautiful, beautiful, beyond beautiful. The whole time we were there, except for maybe 12 hours, it was either cloudy or the smoke from the wildfires had come in, and there was almost no view at all.
There was blue sky. It was better than I had seen because, like, it was complete fog when I went the last time. So it was an improvement for me. And I mean, Sheila's seen it at like crisp blue skies, so she had an attachment to that, whereas I saw nothing but fog and barely any mountains, like the Essence Mountains. So when I got to see actual mountains, even though there was haze, I was excited because I was like, look, it's so beautiful. And she's like, it's not good enough.
Yeah. And so it was interesting to notice. In the beginning, it was almost funny. I'm just like, oh, it's a little overcast. I'm sure it'll be better. And then it never did get better, except for, and again, this is where release all attachment to that when it needed to be, it was glorious. We did have like breakfast on this balcony overlooking with beautiful view. We got to go to a whole planetarium and have a night sky. It's a designated dark sky area there, so extra wonderful viewing with no extra lights in the area. And it was crystal clear and no cloud, no smoke, nothing. And so really, when it mattered, it was absolutely perfection. And the other times, to be honest, it kept it a bit cooler. It wasn't glary on the eyes. So if you do take that step back, it was a fantastic experience. But in my head, I had an attachment to knowing the awesome views. And I was trying to show them off because as the local, it's like, you got to see it at its best. And I kept thinking, but this isn't good enough. And that was ridiculous because she was fine. She wasn't disappointed. I was the one that kept holding on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I was excited because, like I said, from my impression before, I didn't see mountain.
Yes,
So it went from nothing to like, a 4 or 5, and I was excited.
Yeah.
So that brings up another concept to the idea of being attached to things. It's like it's all relative to each person, right? The idea that we could be attached to something and create this expectation of this won't be good enough for anyone. We don't know if, let's see, has the audio improved? I'm playing with things.
I'm clicking things. Just keep talking.
Click. Okay, so I was saying whatever was my attachment to the experience, and there's other things that came into play. It doesn't mean it'll apply to everyone. Not everyone's going to have the same attachments in the same way as you will, or the same expectations. And because my experience was nothing, and then I got something, but Sheila's was everything, and then she got like less, then it created this sort of tension, right? So, but I was excited, and I was commenting that I'd never seen the top of mountains so close and everything, and it's just, yeah, it was beautiful.
The rental car even had like the whole sunroof, and so
Yeah.
she could see everything and the glorious views.
It was beautiful.
Even the one time we were driving and where I was looking was smoky, but she was looking back to the other side and it was blue. And so again, it just kept showing us over and over again of let that go. Just let it go. It so doesn't matter. So often I think when we have something in our mind, it needs to look like one thing. We're really gripping onto that idea. And the more we can soften that and have it matter, at least even just a little bit less, I think that can ease just the whole feeling around what we want and what we end up getting.
Yeah, and I mean, a point that comes from that is why do we hold on so tightly?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's propelling us to hold on as tightly as it? Why was it so important in your experience for me to see bright,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful skies with the mountain? Like, there was a reason. So,
yeah, it's funny. I think because I have every other time that I've driven into, it's just been so awe-inspiring. And there was a part of me that, I wanted to show that off to you so that you got to have that full experience.
yeah.
Which it's irrelevant. It's not as if you can't ever go again or look at pictures, and you did get a great experience. So it was interesting.
Yeah, the other aspect of it was the animals. She was telling me ahead of time how, like, animals are everywhere on the side of the road, walking amongst the people, and all those things. And I thought to myself, I look forward to seeing all these animals. And it's like they got the memo of the attachment and the expectations. They pieced out. So
it was actually comical because we were practicing at that point. We're aware that we have too much attachment to this. Let's be easy and light about it. Let's make it playful. Let's just be curious. We still didn't see any.
Well, no, we got chipmunks and squirrels,
Sure.
and some birds, and, but the idea, she's like, you could see elk and bears and
They just
deer,
walked down the street in the town.
mountain goats, and bighorn sheep and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to see a mountain goat. So I was talking to them, every time I saw a mountain, I was like, where are you, Billy? Come on and play, Billy. And We were attached to it. At the beginning of the trip, because I felt there was plenty of time left, was less attached. I was like, I'll see what I see. But the closer it came to the ending of the trip, that's when you saw a different sort of spike within me.
Yeah.
That said, like, okay, where are they now?
Yes, it was getting funny, and it was light and it was silly because it really didn't matter. But we had thought that's going to be part of the experience. It's like when you go whale watching, you anticipate there will be whales, but they never promise whales. You are still out on the water, you are still learning some information, you are still getting to see something. But in your mind, you think it needs to be this amazing whale show, and to just know, what else could it be? What else could be part of this experience that feels good and feels fun?
Yeah.
And we did. We had fun. We had a good experience.
Well,
and now you have something to look forward to the next time.
Yeah. Well, that night that we went for the stargazing, we got into the car and you're driving off and you're like, oh, look, a deer. And I'm like, where? And it's like literally beside the car, like munching away, having its midnight meal essentially.
Yeah.
And like it was so quick, eye contact with the deer and everything, and then Sheila drove, and I was like, bye, dear.
If I'd known that was going to be the only deer, I definitely would have stopped, we would have taken pictures, we would have done something. But no, that was the first night, and so I thought, ooh, of course there's a deer right there. But it was 2 a.m. and it was dark, and she didn't really take it in. So there we are.
That's all right. I saw chipmunks and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I did see a bear, but at a very, very, very far distance with the cub. But a lot of people gather every time those sightings come.
Yeah.
So
let's be clear. We're glad that the bear was at the distance, because there was a sense while we were on hikes that there could be bears. There were a lot of warnings around, and we were not carrying bear spray or bells or anything. I had no concern. But we are happy that it was at a distance. And honestly, there was part of me, and this is where you can get into a little bit more of that extrapolating of, I was happy that there weren't animals on the road, because there used to be a lot of animals that would be on the highway, and of course that can cause accidents. So part of me was really happy that we just had really safe, easy driving.
Yeah.
So again, maybe that part overwhelmed the need to see them. I was focused on making sure that we were safe. We had the rental car. I just wanted a trip of ease, and so we had that. So.
It was a great trip. I enjoyed the views. I was actually sad when we left the mountains. Like, to be that close to them was incredible.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It does have its own impact and amazing effect. So that, I think that's why we wanted to hop on here. Just if anybody can think of anything in their own life that maybe they feel that attachment to, when it's not working out, we often feel very strong emotions, very strong disappointment or anger or frustration, and possibly to consider, could there be a bigger picture? Do I need it to be this one way? Could I acknowledge how it's working out in other ways? If it's not this, could it be something better, or could it be later? If it's not now, allowing just to have those questions come in, so that you're taking your gaze off of it needing to be just this one thing in this particular time, and giving some ease and allowing more opportunities to flow in, because it could be that this isn't the only way, and in fact there might be something better along the path. It's just having the desire for that got you to this point, but maybe there is another direction yet again. And to have as much ease with that, I think, allows for feeling better about everything that's going on. So
it does. And bearing in mind that your experience, what you know, based on all your past experience, creates those expectations, those attachments. And then when you have them and they include somebody else, then it's like, they don't have those experiences.
That's true.
They don't have them, so they're not there going, oh, I want this too. They're just like, hey, this is cool. I've never seen this before. Sheila spent most of her life here, having access to this. I've dreamed of coming to see mountains. So just the opportunity of being in that energy and being in that experience, even the first time when I saw absolutely nothing, I was excited. But the friend I was with, she had spent her life in this area too. So she was attached to the idea of like, oh, you can't see these beautiful mountains. I was like, but I'm here.
Maybe it's you.
It is me.
Maybe you're just not meant to see.
I saw them. I was thinking that earlier. It's like, don't bring that up.
That's funny, yes, because it is. The water is so green when the blue sky is showing. It's just
We
muted.
still saw that.
It was nice in areas, but it was more
The Valley of the Five Lakes was gorgeous.
It was worth the visit for sure. If anyone's ever in the area, I had never been there before, and that was a great hike with great lakes to see for sure. So
Yeah, oh, it's beautiful.
all right, well here we are. 20 minutes. We said that we would leave it at that. Thanks for everyone who showed up and commented. And again, if you're watching on the replay, let us know. We'll figure out the sound issues.
Hopefully it's not buzzy.
You know, it maybe just adds a little extra something. All right. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully we will pop on here another time and have even better quality sound. Who knows? Anything is possible.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.